Hello and welcome to a game between WhiteRa and SjoW. WhiteRa will be playing as a red Protoss player at the upper right hand corner, and we'll be opening up with a gateway closer to the ramp. And SjoW will be playing as the blue Terran player at the lower left hand corner. This is GG your face, and it appears that WhiteRa will be scouting directly after that gateway, and the map is going to be Delta Quadrant. He is going to be scouting the wrong position, and of course he does not know that, and as both these players are going to be opening up the gas, I do have a really important announcement for car drivers and people who know car drivers. In the wintertime, it is extremely important for you to get antifreeze for your window wash, because if you don't, when pigeons leave you their gifts on your window, you will be able to spread that gift all around, making your car a complete mess. And when your neighbors pass by you while you're trying to figure out how to get rid of the poop on your screen, you will be extremely embarrassed. So avoid the embarrassment, spend that extra $50 or $1 more, and save yourself the hassle. The Obro command is being changed in from the command center, and there's a probe hanging out here, and he will be putting down a cyber core. It's usually a good idea to put the cyber core behind the front of the base, because that way if your front of the base gets attacked, you will probably still be able to keep that alive. Cyber core is extremely important because it allows you to build more advanced buildings as well as stalkers and sentries. And if you just have a bunch of zealots don't really do well against ranged attackers because they can just cut you back and forth all day long. Second gas is being opened by WhiteRa at this moment, and there's going to be a factory going up. I believe it is only 1 or 2 marines and then a factory coming right up, and SjoW is inside the base of WhiteRa, and he will be able to see that the second gas has been opened. There is one zealot chasing the SCV around, but the SCV is pulling more and more away from the zealot, as you can see, and there's also going to be a stalker coming out momentarily. At the top of the ramp of SjoW, he does have 3 marines, is going to be making more, and he is going to open up with the second barracks. The first factory is going to finish. The first add-on is going to come online, and it is going to be a tech lab. The tech lab will allow you to get some upgrades for your infantry units or factory or the starport I mean. And of course that is dependent on what building it is attached to. There is a robotics facility coming out for WhiteRa at this moment, as WhiteRa is not going to focus on a very army heavy composition at the early stage of the game, and the army size is going to be at 31 versus 29. There is going to be 1 zealot, 1 stalker versus 4 marines and 1 hellions at this moment. The hellion is going to be scouting around. Hellions is a great thing to use to scout because it moves so quickly and can cover a lot of ground and also escape relatively easily. That is the characteristics you want in a scouting vehicle or unit. It appears he will test the front waters, and he is going to fall back right away. Concussive shell is being researched for the marauders, allowing them to slow down enemy units should they decide to run away. And there's also going to be a potential conflict here, as he does spot the probe, and WhiteRa does immediately send out the stalker to fight off the hellion, but the hellion does kill off the probe, no problem there. And more units are being pumped out at this moment, and inside the base there was only 1 gateway. The second gateway is being warped in, and there's also going to be another pylon. This is actually not the best of idea. 2 pylons powering basically everything. First, there was only 1 pylon powering 4 structures. It's a really bad idea. Don't do it because it can be sniped relatively easily with marauders and a drop from the medevac. And it appears that there is going to be 2 barracks, and there's going to be a starport, and there's going to be a reactor being attached to the factory at this moment. So he is not going to get siege tanks anytime soon. He might wait a while and get it later. And we do see Robotics Bay coming out along with an Immortal, so we will see some Colossus potentially, or really fast observers. Fast observers are really nice to see, but I mean, it's probably not the first upgrade you want to get. Stempak is being researched for the infantry right now because he likes to shoot really fast, and this observer is hovering over the place of SjoW, the natural expansion that is, and I think he should see it. Maybe he does not have scan. He doesn't have scan, he does not have Enraven, but he probably has spotted that observer, because observer, you usually don't want to move it too much. You just want it to sit still for a while and then move it every once in a while. And as this scan is probably going to come momentarily, as there are more and more units coming out. 3 marines. Ooh, he does scan right away, right when that Obro command got enough energy, so he already knew the observer was inside the base. Another pylon is being placed, and at this moment the army size is going to be 55 against 59. A slight advantage for the Terran player, as the Terran player did take down the natural expansion slightly earlier, and it looks like WhiteRa will be doing the same thing. In the meantime, SjoW will be moving out, and he will be grabbing an expansion. It is a great idea to move out and potentially do an attack or some sort of harassment while you're getting an expansion, so that will leave your opponents questioning whether or not they should attack you back, because that because they're distracted on the side of the base. And it appears he is going to be dropping with a medevac and also coming in here with his main force. The medevac is coming up from the northwestern side of the base, and the infantry units are also going to move in here, as most of the units are still back in the base. There is one pylon up on the side, and the medevac is going to come in from the side. Potentially he is going to drop the back, and these probes might be in danger as some observer is moving out to the front. The probes are fine. He was able to deter that with just one stalker, and he is going to come in here on the front and try to do some harassment. The Hellion does go up to see what he's up against. He will be able to take down the only one sentry, and he's trying to take down the Immortal, and he does manage to do so as well. That was a great attack there by SjoW, and SjoW is also have one of the medevacs in the back, and he could possibly drop once again if he wishes. And the medevac is going to come in here on the side, potentially snipe down this pylon, and pylons are really easy to snipe, and it appears that WhiteRa will move over in time. He's also getting the Colossus upgrade, the thermal lance, which enables him to shoot a little bit further. Well, actually not a little bit further, but about double the distance further, allowing him to shoot safely. And this is a really good attack by SjoW, as he is going to be getting his natural expansion up and running. He already has it finished, and he is just distracting his opponent. His opponent, WhiteRa, does not yet have anything at the natural expansion. He has taken down the rocks, but this pylon might go down, and of course he is going to possibly come in on the side here. The pylon does go down. He does pick up all of his units. He will be able to get away, and look over here. He is going to be attacking this pylon as well. He does take down 2 pylons, and that will effectively supply block his opponent. His opponent is going to be, I think, 2 or 3 pylons behind, and of course now the army size will suffer. It is going to be 74 against 85, and of course WhiteRa cannot make any more units. Some SCVs are being moved over to the side, and WhiteRa does have vision of this. He knows he is behind. He's got to play very conservatively and possibly hope for a mistake from SjoW, but he is spreading his units very nicely across the side here. He does have some units here. He does have one stalker here, and most of his army is going to be in the middle, right between his natural expansion and his main base. And WhiteRa at this moment is falling more and more behind, as his opponent is opening up with more barracks. He does have 4 barracks now. Will be pumping out units non-stop because he knows he supply block his opponent. And whenever you're supply block, you are going to have to make some choices. You're going to have to make some sacrifices that you normally might or might not want to make. And it appears that he is going to go for a War Prism drop and try to even the score right away. And the army size is going to be at 90 versus 100, and if we take a look at the unit composition, we will see 2 Colossus, a bunch of Zealots, and 5 Stalkers, and also 1 Sentry. And there is 1 Marauder on the high ground harassing WhiteRa slightly, and it appears that Marauder is going to get picked up. Or possibly not. There is going to be a War Prism going off to the side. There's still 1 observer inside the base of SjoW, and SjoW will be getting out some tanks now. He is going to research siege tech, I believe, or it's already complete. It is already complete, and there will be a drop here on the side. He does manage to kill off about 2 SCVs there, and these Zealots does get a 3rd kill, and some of the units are coming back. Actually, that's a lot of units coming back there, and he does manage to kill off only about 4 or 5 of those SCVs, I believe. 1, 2, and a total of 6 SCVs, and these Zealots aren't going to be doing too much, as another observer is going to be pumped out. And I think at this time WhiteRa is going to have SjoW distracted. He is going to do a slight push here. That may not be the best of idea, as he does have a Colossus going up to the front, and we might see an encounter here, as there is a Mortal and 1 Marine, and they will be moving back. And of course there are still the threat of a drop from these medevacs, and the Vikings are going to move back and forth and going back to their base. Both players are going to go back to their respective bases, and the income tab will show that the Protoss player is now actually ahead because he forced the Terran player SjoW to momentarily stop mining, so that's why he is ahead there. Great play by WhiteRa, as he is going to be cementing his deficit. Not cementing his deficit, coming back from his deficit. And there appears to be 2 Vikings here on the side to prevent further harassment from the War Prism. And there's 1 Marauder on the high ledge, and also 1 medevac on the side here. And the War Prism is going to come in from the right hand side. Will these Vikings catch it? Oh no, the Vikings just move out. Ooh, or maybe he did see it, or maybe not. And both these players are moving back and forth. These Vikings will be able to find the War Prism, and the War Prism is going to go down. He is switching over to Templar Tech, and the War Prism will go down there. and he does have it at a good position, and his opponent might not see this. These two locations are still blind to SjoW, so SjoW does not know his opponent is switching over to Templar attack, but I'm not sure if that's going to matter too much, as the army size is going to be at 118 versus 142. It looks like SjoW is going to move in here and potentially try to finish the game, or perhaps grab another expansion. He has taken down the expansion. He has taken the expansion directly outside of his base, and some tanks are getting siege. It looks like he wants to make sure that his opponent is not going to get another expansion. This is great play by SjoW, preventing his opponent from expanding and also getting an expansion himself. And there's also going to be another observer coming back and forth, trying to figure out where the units are for SjoW at this moment, as WhiteRa is going to have to deal with this in one way or another. There is going to be 2 medevacs coming in for the northwestern position. There is 1 medevac to the east, and the observer does reveal the bad news that the tanks are going to be sieged up inside his base. Medevacs are coming in here for a drop, and they're actually going to drop inside the vision of the Colossus. And they do get sniped right away by the feedback from the Templars, and the drop does occur here on the side. The most of the army of WhiteRa is going to move to the side to deal with this, and the medevac does very smartly and pick up the units and leave. He did not actually lose anything, was able to prevent his opponent from mining for a moment there, and the probes are only going back down. Of course, this is going to hurt his income quite a bit. As you can see, there was a slight second that he was actually behind in terms of income about 3 times or so. And he's going to have to spend some micro to put these probes back on the gas, as one good scan there goes off, and actually, that is a really good move by SjoW, making sure that his opponent is in the dark. We do see charge coming up for the Zealots. He does have a lot of Zealots. Army sizes at 130 against 168, and more units are being built. It is predominantly Zealots for the Terran player, as Zealots and Templars are a great way to deal with infantry balls, but he needs something to help him against these siege tanks, as his opponent is going to have 5 siege tanks seized up directly outside his base, and his opponent SjoW is also going to be getting a ghost, and it seems that WhiteRa is running out of options. He is mining a lot of, wow, that is a total of, I think, 12 probes on that one mineral field, and I think he is going to be a little bit desperate, as he needs to push out here, because he is only going to fall back further and further. He does warp in a War Prism. He has some Zealots here on the side. Is going to try to distract his opponent, and he will be taking down some of those SCVs, and he is going to take down quite a number of those SCVs. He is going to need to do something special here very, very soon, as these tanks are not going to go anywhere, and his opponent is going to make sure he is not expanding. He does have a Marine here on the lower right, does have a Marine at the upper left, making sure he is not expanding, and I think WhiteRa needs to do a push here. He does have the resources to do it. He does have the Templars and the Zealots, and some Zealots do get warm on the side. He wanted to use that as a distraction, and the Vikings are coming out. The Vikings are going to be able to snipe down one of those Colossus immediately. Good storm there. Another storm goes off. 3rd, 4th storm. Really nice positioning of those storms, but he is out of Zealots. The Zealots were taken down by the tanks as well as the infantry ball, and the army size is going to be at 63 versus 133, and the War Prism is going to go down as well. He only has 6 Zealots and 1 Templar somewhere, and he is going to need to warp in additional units as SjoW is moving into the base. That was some great play there by WhiteRa, but I don't think it's going to be enough to take down this force from SjoW, and WhiteRa is in trouble now. He is making Colossus. Colossus probably will not come out in time. It is getting taken down by the infantry units, and that is just great play overall by SjoW, as he is going to go for another storm. That Templar is going to get 1 kill, and he is going to go down. The problem with storm is you do need some unit like the Zealot or Stalker to pick up the units that are storm. Hope you guys enjoyed that game. More will be coming in very shortly. Hope you guys subscribe, and see you guys at the next game.